Welcome back. So let's continue our discussion on cascading style sheets. In the last few sessions we have discussed how to specify specific styles for certain elements in our HTML. For example, like style width is 60% for the body and the margin auto and the background color orange for the body tag. And for heading 1 we have put the style as color blue, and for the paragraph there were 2 paragraphs, and for all the paragraphs we have made text align as justify and background color as a particular background color, border style like the width of the border and the style of the border and the color of the border, and then padding of the elements. In the last session we have seen how to put the font style to our paragraphs. Okay, so this session we will not introduce any new styling elements, but we will make this CSS much more cleaner. By cleaner, what I mean is, suppose I want the same style for all the paragraphs, then with the present scenario I have to copy the styling from one paragraph and paste it for the second one, paste it for the third one, and so on. Okay, so now we will remove that requirement and we will place it in only one place. So in the first session where we introduced the CSS, I mentioned that there are 3 ways to include CSS in HTML. First one is the inline CSS, that is the styling elements that we have discussed here. Everything will be in line with the element. And the second one is internal CSS. Today we will see how to include internal CSS and what is the meaning of internal CSS with rearranging this code. Okay, so first let me say where to put this internal CSS. So far in the HTML code, the head element only had one element, that is title. Now we will introduce one more element here, and that element is style. Okay, so this style tag is used to specify CSS styling for the elements inside the document. Okay, so how to specify the styling? Suppose I want the body to have all the styling elements. This is the way to do it. You have to mention body, then put a curly braces, open and close it, and inside the body you have to specify all the styling elements. Say I will copy everything from this style, copy that, paste it here. I will split it into multiple lines so that it is more readable. Okay, and then I can remove this entire stuff from here. So pause the video and rewatch it if you require. Then now I have replaced the content from the inline CSS to a separate element inside the head tag. So if you read this carefully, what this means is style. I want to style my body as width 60%, margin auto, and background color orange. So let's save this file and open this file in a browser. And you can see we are seeing that background color as orange now also. Okay, so this is another way to put CSS, and this way is known as internal CSS. Here we are not putting it in line with the element, but in a separate. So let's try that for the other element also, that is for the head element h1. So say I want it as h1. Okay, so this styling is for h1. We will copy the styling for h1 and paste it here. So that's it, only one styling element. Then we can remove this here. So if you see this, now our HTML code is cleaner. We don't have any long line of HTML tags. So we have moved everything to the first place, that is in the style tag. So now let's save this file, go back to the browser, and again you can see the color is blue. Suppose I have a second heading somewhere below, say I want to say as some other person, or say we can put. Okay, so if I am saving this thing here, well, there is no styling for H1 in this one, but we have mentioned a general place, that is every H1 in the document will have this styling, that is color equal to blue. So let's see that. See, this one also has now the blue color. If I didn't mention here, then only that element, that is the first element, will have the blue color, the other heading will not have the blue color. Okay, so let's remove this styling for the paragraph also. So for that part you have to use the P tag, and then for P tag, what are the styling elements that you can have? I will use this one, that is I want the paragraph elements to be justified. Suppose I want the background color. If you want the background color as this tomato, or let's say we want some other color, we can pick some other color, HTML colors. Say you want a Dodger blue, or else a gray color. So let's say gray. And then border, I want it as 3 pixels, outset blue, and the padding I want it as 5 pixels and 10 pixels. For the top section, everything should be separated by a semicolon. So for the top section 5 pixels, and for the top and bottom will be 5 pixel padding, and the left and right will be 10 pixels padding. So this we can remove, and the font paragraph also, font style also we can take it out. So let's say I want the font to be italic. I don't want the small cap here. I don't want the italic also. I want it as bold, 20 pixel, let's reduce it, say 12 pixel, and monospace. In that case I can remove this also. Okay, so let's remove all the styling elements from the HTML tags. Save it, go back to the browser, refresh it. Now you can see the contents are in a new style. I didn't put the styling element for all the elements, but I have used a general place. So this way of specifying CSS is known as internal CSS. Hope it is clear. So we have removed the styling element from inline to a separate or a general place known as internal CSS, and that is done using a tag style. So the tag you have to remember is style, and it has to be put inside the head element. So inside head we had previously title, now we have another one, style. So if you can include all the other heading styling elements inside the style, so that it will be applied to the elements inside the HTML. We can conclude this session with the introduction of external CSS. So the third method, first one was inline CSS, the second one was internal CSS using the style tag inside the head element, and the last one that we are going to see is the external CSS styling. It is very easy, we will finish it in a few steps. So the problem with the first method, inline CSS, was that we have to repeat the same style for all the elements that we want to be same. We have avoided that problem with internal CSS by putting all the styling elements into a common place like this one. So if you read this one, all the paragraphs inside the HTML will have this styling, all the paragraph inside all the body will be only one, so the body will have this style, all the heading tag will be having this style and so on. But again, imagine suppose we have too many styling elements, or we have many styling elements inside our HTML, then this part will increase, the size of this styling element will increase. So what we can do in that case is we can remove the styling element into a separate file. Okay, so what I will do is I will create a new file, and all I have to do is copy this entire code inside the style. I'm copying it, then pasting it here, and then save the file as, say I can name it as my style dot CSS. Okay, remember the extension, it is dot CSS, and then save it. That's it. Now we have removed all the styling element into a separate file, and I have saved this file in the same folder as my HTML file. Okay, now what I can do is I can remove this entire thing from my HTML, and with the help of another tag which is called link tag, I can introduce the external CSS file into my HTML. The link tag does not have a closing tag, so we can close it straight away, but it has three important attributes that we have to use to connect my style.css file to this HTML. And first one of them is the rel attribute, relation attribute, and then for this one I have to put the value as style sheet. Okay, so we are going to include a style sheet to this HTML file, so you have to specify it as rel, relation of this link. I'm linking another file with this HTML file. For that you have to specify what is the relation of that external file with this file, and that relation is style sheet. Okay, it is called a style sheet. And the other one, you have to mention what is the type of that file. Type of that file is specified using text/CSS. So this also same. We are not going to introduce any other link elements here, so you just have to remember this thing. Type will be put as text/CSS, and the most important one, the final one, and that is href. Href we have seen for another tag, and that is for a tag, but here this link tag also has href attribute, and this href should be equal to the name of the CSS file, and that is mystyle.css. mystyle.css. So let's save this file. Now you see this HTML file does not have any CSS element at all. It is much more cleaner. With just one line we have copied all the elements in this one to this HTML file. So let's save this thing. Refresh it. That's it. You have all the elements intact without having any style mentioning in the HTML file. So let's see whether it is working by changing some of the style. Suppose I want my paragraph to be 12 pixel but without bold, so I'm saving it, and instead of gray, let's have some other color, Dodger blue. So I'm changing in mystyle.css, not in HTML. So if I change it here, go back to the browser and refresh it, now you can see everything has been changed. So with this approach we have extracted out the CSS from the HTML, so your code will be easy to read. Now this does not have any CSS, okay, but when you are looking at CSS, it is having only CSS, no HTML is here. So you can easily work with CSS and HTML without getting confused. Okay, so I hope you have understood the three methods to introduce CSS into HTML. First one was inline CSS. Second one was internal CSS with the help of the style tag, and the last one was the external CSS with the help of the link tag within the head element. Okay, so we will conclude this session here, and in the next session we will finalize the CSS with introduction of ID attribute. ID and class attribute. Okay, thank you.